What's good, y'all? It's your boy speaking. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna do something special for the PS5's birth year. Yay! It's been 5 years, 2020, man. Now listen, I main PlayStation. All my gaming memories resonate with this brand, but that's not gonna deter me from saying what I have to say about this system. I know you feel the same way too, so let's get into it. First, we're gonna start with the negatives, and then we're gonna go into the positives. So buckle up and let's enjoy the ride. Let's get it. Now, this is the first one that I gotta go with. It's gotta be the themes and the UI, man. Now, I know I'm not alone in this. This is one of my biggest complaints about the PS5. The PS4 had themes from the store, even from the USB drives you could do with the PS3. It's animated, static. They had music, they had UI sounds, and it just bookmarked certain times in my life. Holiday seasons, memorable playthroughs, just hanging out with the boys in the chat. It felt personal, but the PS5, it's clean, it's fast, but it's corporate. There's no spice. So get some adobo in there, get some tzatziki in there, you know what I mean? We have wallpapers, kind of, but they're only applied to the welcome hub. Once you leave that tab, your wallpaper disappears, and so what's the point? You know? Since we can't have themes, I made my own little workaround. And so I set up Spotify playlists. So you can select a song from the track out of Spotify and then loop it. And then you kind of have your own, your background for that. I'll put the link in the description for that playlist if you guys want to follow that. But you can even turn the system on from Spotify. So when you boot the system up, the song will already be playing. So it's not perfect, and you got to manually pause the song when you go into a game. When you go into an app like YouTube or HBO Max or something like that, that will automatically pause for you. So, I mean, that's nice. Bottom line is, you gotta have more customization to this Sony. You have to. It's just too. Life is already becoming too corporate with architecture, apps, tech. Everything just looks the same. It's so washed out with this gray feeling. There's no color to anything. There's no personality. Gaming shouldn't follow that trend as well. It's for a lot of people, it's escapism, and I don't want to escape into another part of what's already going on around me. You know what I mean? So video games aren't what they used to be. It's not about the console wars anymore. It's more of an ecosystem war. Sony and Nintendo are still holding up on their end with exclusives. Whenever it comes to cross-gen between, PS4 and PS5 games, or even timed exclusives, they still count for me as exclusives. I know it's not a new IP and it's not for the PS5 or whatever you want to say, but games like Forbidden West, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei, God of War, Returnal, the list goes on. I'm sure, a lot of those already ended up on PC. But that's a whole nother ball game. You build your own PC. It's a different vibe. To me, there's hella games on the system. I mean, saying that there's no games on PS5 is kind of crazy. You played every game, rather go touch some grass. Sony exclusives are probably going to be the best experience, at least in my opinion. They're the best gaming experience that I've had, aside from playing with friends and stuff like that. But single player experience, I don't think anything is going to be a Sony campaign game. Just not gonna. Me personally though, when it comes to games, I will always choose quality mode. I know 60 FPS, 120, whatever, should be the standard at this point, but I prefer my games looking more cinematic. I know it isn't plausible with current games, the way they want to look hyper realistic, and it's just not plausible to have both of those unless it would happen if the games went with art direction instead of realism. That's something that games are lacking today. They just want to put the game into Unreal Engine, call it a day, and you see what's happening, But let me know in the comments, are you team quality or team performance? Sony is also one of the last companies still supporting physical media. I mean, as far as I know. I love having tangible objects in my hands, reversible covers, art books. If you got a dev who cares, like Supergiant, the makers of Hades. But that's just me. I know there's a lot of people who prefer the digital stuff. It's a lot easier. less hassle. But you know, hey, are you a physical collector or a digital nomad? Definitely let me know. Now, backwards compatibility though, yeah, that leaves a lot to be desired. They're adding a lot of classics digitally through the store in the PS4, PS5 format so that it runs natively. But PS3 games, don't get me started. You can only stream those on the PS5. You can't do anything on the PS4 with them. Like I said in my PS3 video, it's way better just to own the real thing. So the controller, the DualSense, is easily one of the best controllers ever made, period. Feels premium, looks sleek, buttons are soft, it's pure magic. D-pad is great for fighters and platformers. Touchpad is underrated. I wish they would use that a lot more in video games. Adaptive triggers, straight up warlock stuff, you know what I mean? I never turn them off actually when I game, so I can feel more immersed when I'm either driving a car or shooting a gun in, like, you know, Borderlands or Call of Duty or something. The built-in mic is pretty clutch too when I don't want to put on a headset. And the battery, I don't really see a complaint with them. Like, sure, you gotta charge them or whatever, but I usually have a backup controller, so I just swap them, so it's no big deal. But I mean, nobody needs a game for 5 hours non-stop. Like, take a break, man. You know? Also, I've never had stick drift. What are y'all doing with your controllers? I no stick drift with any controller I've ever owned. I don't know. I've also seen this concept of this GUI controller, and honestly, it looks so good. I really wish that they would do it. Hey, Sony, do something like that. Do something cool like that. Controller, please. So the PS5 is a beefy boy. I have the launch model, and it's hefty, even when, like, trying to pack it into a duffel bag or something. That's why the PlayStation Portal really surprised me, and it's actually better than you think, at least in my opinion. I don't really have any issues. You can play anywhere in your house, switch back to the TV effortlessly, and pick up right where you left off. If you got a hotspot or stable Wi-Fi, it works great. I use it in the car in my breaks with work, and even when I'm out, even at hotels, you can use it. I'm very just genuinely surprised that this thing is still $200 and you can get the PS5 experience essentially. It's not a Switch or a Steam Deck replacement, but it comes very close. It complements the PS5 very well, especially while we wait for that PSP 2. PS Plus is basically the blockbuster of the PlayStation. You got Essential, Extra, and Premium tiers, each stacking a perk from the previous one. Premium gives you streaming for your PS5 and your Portal, especially for games that you already own, and that's a really big deal because you can basically get the portability out of it without really having to have the game on the system. You won't get those exclusives day one, the AAA ones especially, like Game Pass. I mean, and that's mostly because Sony doesn't have, you know, Big Daddy Microsoft money, so they need to earn the sales, so, you know, obviously to support the game and the developers so they can go on making more games. Yeah, the newer ones, those games, they will hit PS Plus about a year or two after release, which I'm fine with. You will definitely have a backlog if you go into the PS Plus catalog and just go looking for stuff. And then every month they add new games. And then on top of that, you get 2 to 3 games monthly to keep that don't have anything to do with the catalog, so that's nice. All in all, the PS5 is a great system with a lot of potential. I just feel like Sony is just unsure of what this PlayStation wanted to be, chasing live service games and battle royales. Just move the company back to Japan, where imagination runs rampant and those games and the studios and the company itself, the direction, I think, will straighten out. Backwards compatibility and missing features make me wonder why they scratched those things out in the first place. The ecosystem is strong though, and that's why I'm staying. The PS6 on the horizon, I gotta have faith that Sony will correct this. We've seen this in the PS3 generation in the first half when everything kind of tanked and then they just straightened up course and then they came back. So let me know your thoughts on the PS5. Do you have one? Do you feel like it still has some life left in it? Are you waiting for the PS6 hype train? Let me know in the comments and hit that subscribe button, man, if you want to see more gaming content. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. All right, thank you for watching, and as always, peace, love, and zen, y'all.